Well, I just got finished listening to an episode um, from Inner University or from Sevan Bomar, and that made me start thinking about what he was telling people, because I know that when he starts giving talks on his YouTube channel, that he usually makes his messages to people who he has internalized inside himself. So I suppose that when you think about what language language is really something that's inside you that you use as a reference frame for the people who are over there, or like if you use it for like a box. Like I have some tissues right here, so I'm a little bit sick right now, but I feel really calm right now, so that's why I'm just going with what I'm saying right now. So um well, to focus on language. Language is really just a loop structure that sends signals, because I've read an article that actually talks about the process that the frontal lobes use in the brain to actually start thinking about things, like with processes with experimentation. Because when you're a, a person 2 million years ago making an axe or trying to light a fire, you have to use your hands. And so when you use your hands, you see your hands just don't go on forever and ever and ever like a rocket ship into the next galaxy. What happens is that your hands have to go back and forth. And so when you're actually have back and forth motions like this, the internal aspect of that process is is very important, because in your memory, you remember, you build a model in your mind that synchronizes with the outside. So what happens is that when you synchronize with your hands to build a fire 2 million years ago and start eating meat, which actually lowers the energy requirements of your body to go feed back into your head, what that does is that um, it's a way to control how the memory that's already inside is synchronizing with the memory that's outside. So when it's coming into you, you have to deal with how it is coming back into you, because there's already stuff in there that when it's already in there, um, that that's a lot to handle, because like okay, so it's in there, and so now I have to update what's inside. And so the frontal lobes are a way of doing that. And so I suppose that with people who have high intelligence and high intellect, they have more switches that can regulate the process. So that means that, like for example, Seven Bomar, with him, his regulatory switches are completely internalized. So that means that he can, when he says he can have lucid dreams at night, that means that the regulatory switches aren't turned off. It's just that the outside is turned off. The switches that have the everything coming from the outside in are turned off. And so all he has inside him are his memories, that he can use the switches in his frontal lobes to regulate the process in his memory. And so because he can do that, he's conscious in the dream. Now, several times I've had lucid dreams, but they weren't that well, the thing is that I don't do it all the time. So like I just have problems with those switches being turned on when I'm dreaming. So the thing is that when they do happen, I automatically realize, wow, I'm dreaming. This isn't this isn't the outside world. This is inside me. And so, because usually in my dreams, it's like watching television. Some people, they just watch television and they don't think about what's happening. But when you start thinking about what's happening, you become conscious. And so that's why lucid dreaming, you become lucid in your dream, because you all of a sudden you start thinking inside the dream. And so when you start thinking inside the dream, that's when you can start controlling things, because those switches, all of a sudden they say, okay, well, the frontal lobes, they say, okay, those are the switches, and they start assembling. Okay, I'm not getting information from outside, but I am getting information from the inside. And when that happens, that means, wow, I can change the memory without having to have a reference frame from the outside. I can just use the reference frame from here and there and everywhere that's inside me. Like, I can connect things that are inside me together instead of connecting what's outside to inside. And so that means that's where creativity comes from, is that all of a sudden you start assembling from what's inside to what's inside instead of from what's outside to inside or inside to outside. And so that means that when you go inside to inside, you start developing a process where you can say, okay, well, I can do inside to inside, but what that means is that all of a sudden you don't have to start that means that you can actually start to expand your consciousness, because that's why when Stephen Ballmer meditates, or yeah, Seven Bomar meditates, all of a sudden he says, okay, well, I'm aware of this and this thing, and I'm aware of that thing. And so it's like when you're playing video games, all of a sudden you become aware of everything that's in the game, and so you're able to think and strategize. Okay, well, there's 100 characters, and on my side, and there's 100 characters on his side, and they're all mixed together, and I have to sort everything out. And so the thing is that some people, that's why they go and they play the video game like that. But when you're meditating, you have to start doing that from what's in here. So all of a sudden, you start to assemble like 100 items that's in one part of your consciousness, and 100 items is in the other part of your consciousness, and all of a sudden, it's like critical mass and nuclear explosion. It's like 3 seconds before it happens, nothing's happening, and then all of a sudden, everything's incinerated, because all of a sudden it's just assembled. Everything has crystallized. And so the thing is that with crystallization, like I made a diagram to help me understand the crystallization process. So this is the diagram. It says dynamism right there, and it says right there, it says create new libraries. So the thing is that everything inside us is a library. It's the Akashic record. And so because it's the Akashic record, it's everything inside us, we can know the future by actually assembling everything inside us so that we actually become part of the outside world. So everything that's inside us is mirrored. It mirrors what's out there. And so it's just that when we assemble it on the inside, when we crystallize it, all of a sudden it's no longer linear. It's no longer something that can be that we focus on one little thing. All of a sudden it becomes paralyzed. Everything is start operating all at the same time. And so that's why Terence Mckenna, when he talks about language that you can actually see, he's talking about a language where you mirror the outside world to such a perfect extent that what you say reaches someone so that they understand what you say, because language is meant to convey things to help you understand. And so before that, I took some notes, and so these notes were linear, but they helped me crystallize into a parallelized structure. So I think it would be nice if I went over them. And so the first thing is that quantum resurrection. So the thing is that when I have another YouTube channel by the name Anime Kitty. It used to be G Jeremy, but like the letter G, because everyone spelled my name with a G instead of a J, and so G, or like Germany or Jeremy. And so the thing is that on that channel I have a favorites list, and I have all these things from my past and just things that I really like. And I never watched the show Bleach before, but I still like that. I still like watching the anime music videos where he's fighting and stuff. So, but the thing is that one of the videos it has a cat. It has the cat from outer space, and in that thing is where they had the little cat had a necklace, and they had to win money to help the cat out, and so they went to a bar. And they were playing pool to beat the other guys to win money to help the little cat fix his spaceship to go back in outer space. And so my name is Anime Kitty, and so I like kitties. And so so the thing is that they use the necklace as a telekinesis device. They hit the pool ball. The pool balls all of a sudden they started bumping against the wall, but then they bumped back in. They bumped backward into. And they reassembled themselves. At first it was a triangle. It disintegrated. And then it turned back into a triangle again. And so the thing is that that's how people are able to synchronize with each other, is that all of a sudden in your mind it assembles what's out there. And so when we're communicating telepathically, we're actually assembling something in the reality that we can use as a communication device, like paper and pen, to write letters. And so the thing is that instead of writing letters on physical things, we're writing the letters in our mind and then sending that message outward by actually having the intention to know that there's a person out there that assembles the thing in such a way to know that it's there, and they can see it in our mind as we can see it in their mind. And so the thing is that, like, I read a book about how cats evolved from dragons. Now, the dragon can actually be the symbol of the Antichrist, but the thing is that Paul persecuted Christians very much, and so when he realized that what he did was wrong, he actually went inside himself and started to assemble inside himself. And so when he assembled inside himself, he became soft inside, because when you become soft on the inside, you actually have, what you've done is that you've assembled, because softness is the same as crystallization, except it's crystallization in a different way, because some people, when they crystallize like from the DMT. Terence Mckenna says they were sharp, jagged, and they just moved around. And so the thing is that, like, with softness, is that a dragon became soft, and so a dragon became a cat, and the cat was very soft and cuddly. And so you take the Antichrist, and it becomes something that's love, because love is softness. And so the thing is that when you think about crystals really are their crystal clarity means that you no longer have the resistance. You no longer have that thing that blurs your vision, like on your glasses, when your glasses get all dusty and you can't see. And so the thing is that when the glasses are clear, because of the crystal glass inside them, you can reach out and touch those things that are soft. And that, like when the Bible says that we're going a sea of glass. And so a sea of glass is actually, because water is a crystal also. It's a crystal that's clear, because it's a crystal that's clear and soft at the same time, and it's fluid. And so that means, I'm sorry, my screen went off. I had to move my mouse. So the thing is that intelligence is actually non-linearity. It's about the amount of things you can assemble at once. But the thing is that intelligence is not always going to lead to softness and clarity in a sea of glass. And so the thing is that when that society uses language to crystallize into others what they want to be done. And so the thing is that a fluid understanding, and that's why when you see the movie Atlantis, The Lost Empire, Atlantis, The Lost Empire is where they start speaking in tongues. And so the thing is that when you start speaking in tongues, you all of a sudden you start doing what Jesus did. Because what Jesus did was that he started to say things that people took was actually real, something that he knew that they were, that he understood the actual Torah that he read. When he read the Torah, he crystallized inside himself a very, very huge assembly of information from the Torah. The Torah is a book about overcoming the dragon, you know. So the thing is that when you overcome the dragon, then it leads to like what the Buddha said, is that when the dragon is trying to destroy you, there's a flame, and that flame is snuffed out. And so the thing is that I actually had a vision that lasted 10 seconds, whereas my brain was so much on fire that it was burning. But the thing is that after it stopped burning, it crystallized. And that crystallization allowed me to see clouds, soft clouds, and an angel. And that angel was, and the clouds were not just white; they were just clouds of energy. So it wasn't it was a cloud made out of water and light and colors all at the same time. And that was the most wonderful thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But the thing is that there's so many other things like there's this video game I like called Star Fox Adventures, where it talks about Crystal and Star Fox, and they're just they go to a dinosaur planet and they're trying to save the planet. But the thing is that they have all these it's a wonderful planet because it's such a beautiful planet. And so I guess that so the thing is that we're a dynamism. We're a dynamism, whereas that when your mind starts to crystallize, you don't actually have to control what's happening inside of it. You just have to be there to guide it, and to guide the process, to let it smoothen out, and to let it relax and fold onto itself. And so when that happens, then it's a much better process than all the emotional fear and tension that comes from just thinking that you have to be in control instead of just letting it happen. And so I guess like that's from the Tao Te Ching, is that you have to just become in resonance with what's happening.